private.
Well, welcome back once again to another podcast. We are, gonna try to just do some stream of consciousness, I guess is what we've decided for this one. We have already recorded one, but Ply has yet to get me the video of that one. And we have to finish it, and then we have to somehow, I'm supposed to get together with him again, but he's got to work. So anyway, we're doing this one to make sure something gets out on time, and then I will get the other podcast that involves Ply whenever we get together and finish it, and then he gets me the file. So that may be next week, it may be in the middle of this week. You'll get another one at some point in time from actually Ply is back, but not enough that we could put something out yet. So that's why we're doing this again, so that you get the same consistent content and YouTube doesn't think that I'm lazy and not putting out content and just kills our reach. So with me again is Placebo, who this time is down there, and over there is Evil, or Kevin, but Evil. And it's the same trio as last time. So yes, I think what we're going to talk about today, we're going to start with some stupidity that I have been experiencing online, and we'll see where that takes us. We'll discuss it. I told Placebo before we got on that I almost broke the story too early, because I was going to tell him about, it's a podcast that I see clips of on Facebook Reels all the time. And it may be the dumbest people I don't know how to process how stupid they are. One guy's name is Peyton. He's the real idiot. And then there's another one named Cam, and he's like, in comparison, he's a Rhodes Scholar, but he's not particularly brilliant himself. But to give you an idea, one of the clips I saw was Peyton. He asked Cam, I can't remember, it may have been out of the blue, but he said, like, how does the moon not melt? And Cam answered saying, well, it's rock. And then but then Cam was, I can't remember what Peyton said in comparison, but he was like, but it doesn't matter because the moon's so close to the sun, shouldn't it melt? So in Peyton's mind, the moon is closer to the sun so that it should melt. And that's what I was like, oh, this fucker is dumb.
That is next level.
I was like, that is so impressively stupid. And it's a lot of the stuff they discuss is just like in that same realm. I know that one time they did a quiz, and it was like, you know, what is the capital? Oh, no, here's what it was. It was, what is the smallest country in Europe? And Peyton's answer was the UK. And then he goes, why do you think it was the UK? And Cam was like, no, that's not it. And then Peyton said, well, I know it's east or south. And so, like that, that sentence blew my, I don't even know what that means. Yeah. I don't even know what that means. And it was just, hopefully it's stuff like that.
Just meant east or south of the UK? That's the only real direction you can go?
The UK is like the most northwest.
Yeah, it was just one of those like, whoa. And then they were talking about, what are the states that like they have the most other states bordering it inside the U.S., which is a fairly, that's a somewhat difficult question.
Yeah.
But Cam actually got it right. He said, I know one of them is Tennessee, and he's right, because he was like, what? And then, but Peyton lost his mind because he thought the other guy was just making up stuff to trick him. He was like, he couldn't believe he got it right. But then Cam was like, well, you got to think about where Tennessee is. It's kind of like surrounded. And then Peyton was like, I don't know where Tennessee is. Like, he has no idea where like anything is on a map. And these guys have a huge podcast, by the way, loads of money, and is
it a shtick that or
I thought about that.
That was my first thought. Like,
I thought so at first. Like, I think they may at times exaggerate it, but I do not, because I've heard them have like real conversations, and this same level of like incapability to think and not understand how things work is like, it just pops up naturally. Like, it's not like, oh, you can tell they were setting it up. It is a very natural state for this guy. And if you just hear him talk, I'll have to like find it and send it to you guys later so that you can look it up. But like,
You Should Know podcast.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Thank you. And Peyton, like the way he thinks makes me think he hasn't like developed from the time he was 13. Like, that's basically like his perception of the world and like information. The only thing he knows very well is like sex and alcohol. He is, yeah, just like placebo. Yeah. But it was really it was super fascinating. And every now and then I'll hit a clip of them, and I ponder. I ponder.
Yeah.
But the best part is when they have arguments and both of them are wrong, and they're just going at it, calling the other one like totally sure of themselves, right? But just both of them just nailing it wrong. I don't know. Do you guys have any similar, I don't know, online experience, or is this just me that has this on my timeline? Am I the only one who has this level of stupid on his timeline?
I mean, I've seen a few of those as I'm scrolling TikTok or Instagram or whatnot, but like, is he just like naturally charismatic or something?
Yes, they're both 6'7", they're both fit. He's half white, half black, very tan, very like he's just got good fat. Like, so yes, he's physically like,
okay.
That's been his thing.
This is your 1%, ladies. This is it.
Yeah,
this is your pinnacle right here.
He's gotten through his entire life by being attractive, basically. Like, he is the perfect himbo, I believe is what they call it now. Like the male bimbos. Himbo.
I see.
No, I don't get any of that. My YouTube shorts are just trying to like radicalize me against Karens who dislike cops. They want to show me every video where a cop puts someone in their place. I don't know why. I've never once looked up anything like this, but they really, really want me to know that there's some dumbasses out there interacting with police.
Maybe it thinks you're the Karen and it's trying to teach you it's like, hey, you better watch yourself or you're going to get some of this.
Maybe I do. I love Bernie and communism. So
I mean, there you go.
Trying to prep.
I had a lot of Charlie Kirk on mine.
Yeah, he's popped up a lot on mine too recently.
I don't dislike the guy, but I don't think I've ever been like, oh yeah, let's see a lot more of this. Like,
same. I didn't go out of my way to find him. Like, he's been. I do wonder if a lot of this is people who have paid the platforms to promote their videos. Because I'm like, if I had money, I probably would have promoted this podcast a couple times. Like a few of our really good episodes, I would have paid to get it looked at. And you can do it, and it'll shove it in front of people's, it'll put it in their feed. So I mean, I'm trying to think of anything else that I would have had that would still have brought them in. Like, it would be like, oh, if you like this, then you will love Tweedledee and Tweedledum here. I don't know that I have anything else that matches that. Maybe Joe Rogan. Maybe I do watch a lot of comedians.
It might be. Yeah.
And so it was just like podcast, comedian. Here, watch two guys make fools of themselves.
I watched like one John Mulaney clip on YouTube, and then all of a sudden Matt Rife was all over it. Just all over it, man.
Talk about another attractive man that. I mean, he's funny too. Matt Rife is funny too, but
he's kind of talented.
No, I agree. No, I don't think he's. I 100% agree. He's especially good at crowd work. Yeah. Maybe even more than his pure stand-up. He's exceptionally good at crowd work. And I think there's a lot of comedians who have actually made careers of this. Like, they're not great at like the planned stand-up, but they are fantastic at just riffing on people in the crowd.
And
Yeah,
I mean, that
Stavros.
Kind of like makes the crowd latch on though. That like,
Yeah.
hey, you're talking about me. I'm invested now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean that person over there? Well, yeah, let's all laugh at them.
And it really, like, they're the ones who really take advantage of hecklers too, like people who are being kind of assholes. You can see their eyes light up because they know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting ready to hit my sweet spot.
You're giving me free content, free money.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's like
for
this
nothing.
is.
You think you're getting an advantage, but no, you're
Yeah,
not.
and the crowd. Yeah, you know the crowd's already on your side and everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I do. That's probably a part of the way it works. Me and Placebo were also talking about Buck Cherry is being part of the questionable intelligence crew.
Well, and not to kind of detract, but we have to keep in mind, like, what's the average intelligence of people in the U.S.? Isn't it still in the double digits?
No. Double digits is low. I think the average is actually like around 100 and.
I
know. I've seen it's the chart.
I think
I've
it's
seen
like
the chart.
just under 100. I think the
It may be.
average IQ is just under 100.
No, you keep talking. Keep talking. Yes, Placebo. On it.
I think people kind of attach to idiots because you know it's not probably far off from the average viewer who's watching some
You at
some of
home?
the
We're
same
talking
content.
to you.
Yeah.
People watching this podcast. That's what we think of you.
I mean,
What-
I don't know about
no,
these
what-
sources, but like crossrivertherapy.com says the average IQ is 97.43 in America.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Hey, honestly, I think our
What's the mean?
Addiction,
Look up the mean IQ because the average could be we just have some really really lows that offset the highs, but
Yeah.
because I know that's the thing with men, right? Like they actually looked into this. Men over their average IQ is lower than women, but men actually have the highest percentage of high level IQs. But they also have the highest percentage of low IQ, like super low IQs. So it brings the average down, but in fact, it's like more women fall in the mean in the middle section, but more men are on both ends, both the hyper intelligent and the hyper side of things. I don't know how proper that is. That might get me in trouble, but
Everything just says average. I don't see anything about
Yeah.
About mean. Would you care to guess where the highest and lowest are?
like, what do you mean? Like where? Like
Which state? I have a state distribution. Which states do you think have the highest?
the highest IQ.
Oh man, we're gonna get in trouble. That's okay. Let's do.
I
anyway.
bet the lowest is somewhere in the south,
honestly,
Yeah.
and the highest is.
are they the averages?
It's
The
just
highest and lowest averages?
Medium.com. Average IQ
Okay.
by state.
Okay.
Average
Because
IQ.
I don't think that the tech sector
in Texas and California is going to offset the rest of their accumulative state. So
Yeah,
That
I
is
could.
correct. They are roughly in the middle. Both of them. Both of them are roughly in the middle.
I would say the highest IQ. Boy, that is hard. The low is easy because you can just be like, you go to the bayou of like Louisiana or Mississippi, like down the south, where like everybody, hey man, I know what I'm doing, man. You know what I mean, man? You know, like
I
I
would
could.
say like Oklahoma or Missouri or something like that.
Good guess. Good guess.
That's-
What's
yeah.
your final guess, Preacher? What are you thinking?
Arkansas. I'm just gonna go with Arkansas is low. High is hard. I'm having a hard time. I might
throw
go
in something
New
like
York.
Maine.
I was gonna say maybe New York's got a lot of dumb people, but they also have like the stock exchange. They have a lot of business high end, like super driven, like lawyers. I guess definitely not Washington D.C. Fuck that.
The Ohio sneaking in there.
Ohio's a good guess. Both Ohio and New York are high, but not the highest.
All right, what's the? I have to know now. Now you've got what's the highest?
Is Wisconsin the one that's cradled in the Great Lakes? I can't remember. If it's that's Michigan.
Yeah.
There's
So
like
which is
it
the
kind of
one
like
to
goes
the
up.
Which is the one to the left of it? Just to the left of it is. Let Let me see.
That may
US
be
state
with-
map.
No. What are you talking about?
Minnesota.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What-
I can see
Minnesota is the
Minnesota.
highest with 102.9. The
Okay.
lowest is Louisiana with 95.2.
Okay.
Oh, I was so close with that. I said Louisiana, the Bayou.
You even
I was
said
so
it. You
close.
say, yeah.
Dang it. Because I was thinking, like, I know, like, the swamp people, like, you know. It's
But, I mean, who knows if this is like accurate? This
That's
is
true, too.
Medium.com. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um,
that's true.
Minnesota.
Online source is always fun for this. Right?
yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fascinating because I got mine tested and I was like 138. I remember I was just short of because I'm pretty sure Genius is like 140, and I remember going, oh, if I could have got 2 more points. But I was short. I remember falling short of that and being like, man, I was close.
Well,
And so the official tests actually aren't the same as the
No, that's
ones
just-
they provide.
I was gonna say there's also different. Because I have a psychologist friend that's in a cigar group, and he was like, there's different tests, so there's different scales of. But I think mine's the one that they use that it's like between something and one. Like that is the one that I've seen the most used is the one where it's like 138, 140, or maybe I got 136 and 138 was Genius. It was somewhere that I was 2
So-
points short, whatever it was.
If you use the official one, I think 130 is genius level.
I think. so.
And if you're looking to do this, I think
You
I
have to
think
get
the
tested by an
men's-
official. Like that's
Yes.
I had to go get tested by an official psychologist. So I don't remember what it. I thought it was, but his scale, like I said, it was a different. Because there's like an APA scale, and then there's another, which is the American Psychological Association. Then there's like a
Yeah.
doctor's scale that they got. That's the other thing. IQ is really weird because they don't all use the same scale, which is kind of iffy anyway. That's why I don't. IQ's nice, but it's not like definitive far as like actual intelligence. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
there's some groups that still require it to be
Yeah.
a part of Mensa. You actually have to be registered on the IQ and in like the upper 98
Yeah.
percentile or something.
huh.
like I'm not sure exactly what their numbers are, but I know.
It is
I
a
know that they-
requirement. I know that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
It's weird. It's weird. Cult-like.
Well, I mean, if you look at, well, not that most people actually can, but if you look at the people who are known members of it, like they're highly intelligent people. Like, it's just-
Yeah. I mean, in the
try
end,
to
Weird
separate
and
themselves.
in the end, I think also there's some intelligent people who they don't have control over their emotions, and so their emotions will sabotage some of their intelligent thought. Like I've seen people, like let's say take Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? Very intelligent guy, high IQ, but he said some dumb fucking stuff on the internet before, right? Like he's said things that have been like proven incorrect, and it's because he emotionally felt tied to the topic, and so he let that be the deciding factor rather than. I do think you can like sabotage your own intelligence just because you have a high IQ doesn't mean you get things right. I guess is what I'm saying. There is a point where you can, get things incorrect just because you have a vested self-interest in the outcome, and so you're going to, fool yourself a little bit into going one way or the. I mean, because we all do it. I would say that we all have made decisions not fully rationally and logically based. I mean, mine. I chose you two to be on the podcast with me today, so I mean, there's
that is some pretty stupid decision making.
pretty rough.
Yeah.
I could have had Buck Cherry, and we could have. Actually, let's get back to that because I do want to tell the story of Buck Cherry. I absolutely. So, for people who don't understand, I don't even remember why. We were all kind of in Discord talking, and at some point, I think I was the first one to find it. It was a video of him. It was during the Motley Crue tour, and I remember they were headlining for Motley Crue, and I think that the concept was they were trying to buy time because the Motley Crue was like super late, drugged out, and so he was just trying to buy time, and they're playing the song. It was the song Crazy Bitch. I'm sure everyone is very familiar with this. But they
Not
drew the song itself is like 2 minutes and 4 seconds long or something. They made this shit last like 20 minutes by having like a full-on lecture, but it wasn't like an intelligent lecture. It was like bow down, and we do this all the time. Anytime we want to make a joke, we start making that sound. But it's like this is like bass, like almost like sexual, porny bass that is in the background of that song. And then he was like, "So today, class, bow down, what are the 3 things that we do as humans, or we need to survive?" I can't remember what it was, but he has this voice. And then he was like, "Da-da," and he waited for the crowd. And he was like, "Was to eat?" And the crowd, "Yeah." "To sleep?" "Yeah." "And to fuck?" And the crowd just, "Ah!" And then there's all of a sudden like the guitar riff is like, "Da da 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 da." And the whole time the guy is up there just grinding on the mic stand and fucking it, just like he's grabbing and just like, I mean, it's great. And he said something to the crowd and all the women go crazy, which is hilarious because this was during the like height of like, you know, don't sexualize women move, but all the women in the crowd, and he was like,
I remember it. It was and we don't want a nice, kind, church-going girl.
Mhm.
No. What do we want, class? We want a crazy bitch.
"Yeah!" And then
That
they would
was
sing
what
like,
got 'em.
and then they would sing like one verse and then go back. I do remember one time he was talking about, God, he was like, we want a girl who will suck our dick and swallow the last drop. And the women squealed in joy over this. And I just remember just cackling, laughing at how ridiculous this whole thing is. And the best part is he started getting so into himself and into his scenario that he talked about a woman, an imaginary woman coming to his house. And he's like, and she's going to show up with her high heels and a short skirt. And she's going to knock on the door. And he started getting into like detail about this scenario. And she's going to open the door. And I opened the door. And you know what I said? And he waited for the crowd.
Like they're gonna know.
Like they're going to know the scenario that's going on in his head. He's like, I don't even remember. He's like, it was almost like a trick question the first time because he was like, then I asked her to come inside and sit on the couch or something. He'd be like, it was just the dumbest non sequitur. Like no one would guess this is where he was headed. But anyway, it still reminds me of like just dumb people in public spaces,
Yeah.
just all together being stupid. And so anyway, we always cackle about it, and I will go back and watch that video from time to time. Just to have a good time, because it's about 20 minutes of like the most special speech you've ever seen.
In hindsight, I regret 3 men talking about that on a podcast.
No,
I've
the
never seen
world,
this before.
the world needs to
all
know.
you guys-
Oh, you can look it up. I guarantee you, if you go to YouTube and look up Buck Cherry, Crazy Bitch, Motley Crue tour. If you just type that in, I promise you this video will pop up because it had loads of views and some people were typing in the comment section below it about how great it was and how he was such a showman and just how brilliant this speech was. Oh, they thought it was the height of, you know, entertainment factor.
I don't know, man. That 97.4 seems like it might be a little low.
Yeah, or a little high. Yeah, I think they may have been missing that.
It must have been in Louisiana. That's the only option.
But yeah, that is God. I wonder how much that has to do with internet. Like, how much have like dumb people been lifted and raised on a pedestal now for the world to see because anybody can turn on their iPhone or upload a video or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't take much.
At what point did these dumb people stop dying off and now they're reproducing.
That's a good point. I do wonder if it is a effect of how good we have it in modern Western society.
Must be.
That like you don't actually have to develop intelligence to exist.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that the running joke though? The California warning labels, like fucking everything.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't drink this highly
Don't
toxic.
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Don't drink the Clorox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? The Tide Pod challenge.
Yeah.
It's like I mean really
Let him drink the Tide Pod. Maybe we should let him do it.
yeah, that's the yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe we should let nature do its thing.
I do think that's actually what's going on, though, right? Like these people get to reap the benefits of society, and so they get to, you know, know nothing except alcohol and sex, and
Yeah.
live just fine, no problems whatsoever, and they're good to go, and we're all the worse off for it.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, true.
You know what sucks?
I am.
Oh, go ahead. No. Please continue. I was just going.
No, this is why I'm not on social media. This is why.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask. So I don't think
Same.
Evil, you're not on social media either, which is really unique. And I think, explain a little bit, because not many people in this day and age have no social media presence, but both of you are off of it, which I think is
Well, I
great.
don't-
It's
yeah.
fantastic. So
Eva, why did you get off of social media? I guess, were you ever on it?
I was, but I was in high school. Like it was the
Yeah.
you know the when the Facebook was coming out era, and
Yeah.
honestly the people that I felt comfortable with.
Associating with, and it's not like a networking thing for me. Like I had really no purpose to do this other than just to hang out and have. And it's like it got to a point where basically I was using it to talk to family, and I was like, God, I'll just pick
Just-
up my phone and
yeah.
call my
Yeah.
family. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't know. I would rather just have real, purposeful conversations and interactions with the people in my life. So
yeah,
That makes sense.
it is interesting how I think Facebook started with that being the intent to share, like, oh, hey, Grandma, look what little Susie did today, and to see what it has evolved into. And I think that may be the case with most social media. It was initially a way for people who wanted to keep in touch with family or friends over a distance. Like, that was the initial intent, and it has now become like its own entity that may actually I would say it's a form of media that has surpassed traditional media. Like most people, they actually are saying, where was it I saw that like now majority of people get their news from like Twitter or Facebook. Like they get, that's where they now to be fair, they may be getting it from like they read the New York Times on like their posts on Twitter or on, you know, it's like they may still be getting it from news sources or from more like, I'm trying to think of, you know, or a Charlie Kirk or a Ben Shapiro or something. But it's kind of like, you know, someone who's known to put out kind of like news-based content. You know, it's not just like, oh, Randy the mechanic here is giving his opinion on the Sixth Amendment violations that are currently occurring or something. You know, it's like they're still getting it from technically kind of official sources, but they're doing it through social media. And it's weird because I mean, that's probably where I get a lot of mine from now. And it's, that's interesting. Now that I think about it.
as long as you're only
Getting it from there, and then you are able to
Check it.
follow
No, I
the
agree.
line
I agree.
and actually find credible people who
Say it. Or
know how to do
check
their
you check the
research
original
or-
source. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I
There-
agree.
I have such a strong opinion about that kind of stuff. Just if you need news to be easily digestible, then you really don't need to be looking at news unless
Mhm.
it's something that's local. Like
I can see that.
it doesn't it doesn't impact you, and if you need somebody to break it down further, then that's the news that's important to you. That's
Yeah, I wonder, because I think that news has always been that way too a little bit, right? Like, let's say a bill passes in Congress. We are always getting, no matter if you get it from CNN, Fox News, New York Times, you're getting the summarized, here's the bullet points. Because the Congress persons themselves can't read, right? That's the whole point. They get 2,000-page bills 2 days before they're supposed to be passed, and it's like nobody can read through all that. It's impossible. You just don't have the time to physically go through and read it all. So I do wonder how much that's different, or if it's just more obvious what's been going on for decades is now more, we understand it now because it's been more condensed through social media into like, oh, we can see what's actually happening now, instead of just being like, oh, we trust these sources. And I do think that's a good, I'm always torn on this. I think that's a good element of social media, is that it does provide alternative, like, people can say, no, that's not what actually happened, and sometimes prove it. We've seen that happen a lot, and I think that's good. It keeps a lot of that's why we know how corrupt traditional news media is now, is because they've got caught just outright lying about stuff. But with that, you have the other side, which is there's loads of fake information out there that also is kind of unfiltered, and you have to deal with. You could have the truth and lies are both equally accessible and presented at the same amount in a social media platform. So it's interesting. I don't have an answer of whether or not overall it's good or bad yet, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you that we're in a sort of misinformation crisis, though, right? Like, that's the big thing right now, is like no one knows who to trust about anything at all, right? I also don't know if social media in the long run will fix that or cause it. I think it won't. I suspect that because it's such a low barrier to entry that anyone can get on, that kind of environment facilitates misinformation more than one with higher barriers to entry, I would suspect.
Yeah, except the problem is when you only have a few people at the top, that's also more susceptible to corruption. For the whole COVID thing, we now even the government is putting out information being like, oh, all the stuff that was previously put out by the government, who was supposed to be the official, this is the truth, oh, that was all bullshit. They were making it up. They were lying. It was all nonsense, right? And so it's like, man, that's why people don't trust it, right? Because you got the people who you're supposed to be like, their sole job at the CDC is to look out for us and to give us accurate information about how to handle these diseases, and they didn't. They dropped the ball. So I don't. Yeah, it's tough. It's like you want to have checks and balances in the news, but how do you do that without also having, just random people be like, I rubbed some rhubarb on my knee and cured my cancer.
Well, and to play. Go ahead.
There's a statistic, just real quick about it. I want to say like 30 years ago, 50 different companies owned the major news networks, right? The top news networks. What do you think we're down to now?
I think it's
no longer 50 companies.
It's like 3.
It's 6.
6? Okay, 6.
6 companies now own and operate what previously 50 companies got to own and operate. So that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
That's damaging in a significant way because it removes the other players that might serve as a check and balance that might be doing better research.
Right. No, I agree. I'm trying to think. There's another. I think that's also the case with like how banking works now. There's basically a few large banks that are they own a lot of subsidiaries, but they all kind of answer to these few huge banks that own everything. That's like, remember when we had to do the bailout of the banks, and everybody was like, oh, it's because the economy will die if we let these big banks that made horrible decisions go under. Well, which I don't know if that's true, because there's that's kind of how capitalism works, right? It's almost like forest fires. You burn it all down, but then the new trees come up in those spots. That's kind of how capitalism is supposed to work. Is if you're a big company and you fuck up royally, you die, but then all the smaller banks would pick up those pieces, and they're like, oh, I'll take that loan, I'll buy that loan, I'll buy that loan, and then those become, the new, more trustworthy versions of the bank. And so it's kind of like why it was such a harmful thing to bail the banks out, because it didn't really teach them anything. Like
Well,
we
we need the flow. We
Yeah.
need like the ebb and flow, not the static. Just it is what it is.
That and the immediate, superiors of those organizations were using those buyouts to give themselves nice bonuses. And
Oh yeah,
shit.
a lot of people
So-
were short selling and making a lot of money off of the misfortunes of others. Is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, we went from goofy. I think the moon's going to melt by being too close to the sun to poor grandma lost her house to the bank. Humans are self-centered. Let's go
Yeah,
back. Let's go back. We were joking earlier about how somehow this podcast had become consistently, no matter what topic we were started at, it would funnel down, and the final conclusion was talking about the self-centeredness of humankind. Yeah. We've done it again. Good job. We did it, boys.
I can't believe we actually did it again.
We started as far as possible away from a serious topic, and we ended up. So let's discuss Plato. Continue. No. Any thoughts on Marx? No, I'm just kidding.
No thoughts on Marx. I got off of social media after high school too. I had it in high school. I had Facebook. I had Instagram, that sort of stuff. As soon as I got out of high school, I stopped. Largely because of the stuff that was being posted and how it altered my view on the people around me, if that makes sense, right? Like, so a huge amount of stuff. And I know the response to this is going to be, you were seeking it out. I wasn't seeking it out. I had some friends in high school that would then, of course, post for attention. Here's me in a bikini, right? Here's me in this. Here's me in that. And it's like, okay, well, if every post is like that, I'm going to start seeing you in that way, right? Because that's the way that you clearly want to be seen.
You're presenting yourself, yeah.
And I just didn't like that. Changed my view of people in a way that I really didn't appreciate. So I was like, no, I'm not doing this to myself anymore.
Had you just been honest and told me you didn't want to see my bikini pics,
I-
we wouldn't
I-
be where we are today.
I crave your bikini pics. It was not you that was the problem.
that is an interesting point though. Like it's such a like close network of friends, and
It's
they want to.
just it is people that I thought quite a lot of, and all of a sudden, oh, there they are, half naked in every single picture,
Right.
pining for attention. Like, all right, cool. Well,
Keep going.
Go back to the OnlyFans conversation that we were having in the last episode. Is that where
I
this is
mean,
going?
We were
do you
actually.
think that? Yeah, I know.
We literally joked about talking about OnlyFans before you got on here. I'm not. We've hit every single scenario that we were joking about that this would end up. But go ahead, continue.
Do you think that it's a natural progression, like from the from the softcore pornography that was being posted of people on Facebook and Instagram that was just normal,
100%.
normal, and now we just
100%.
naturally progressed to the next thing?
Yes, because
Um,
it happened in the music industry, right? Like it went from you wore kind of cute outfits, then it was sexy outfits, and then you had the Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, sweaty slut, the era that they went through. Remember when they were both seeing which one of them could be sweatier and hornier during their music videos? And it's just, and now then you had Nicki, because you have to get the next level of attention and get those sales, you have to up. So now you got Nicki Minaj, and you got the, fat booties on the screen, and same thing happened in social media. You could be a pretty girl just in a nice dress, and then you're a pretty girl in a tight short dress, and then you're a pretty girl in a bikini, and it just kept going to where if you want to make money and you want the attention,
Yeah.
that's the next step. You
I think that's, to be honest, the same thing with the level of you're gonna get fucking canceled because of me. And
No, no, no.
it is what it
We
is.
won't get canceled. Go ahead, go for it. We're here to be
I
canceled.
think to some degree the vast amount of people who are claiming to be bisexual or gay or something like that, I think that's also a bit of a natural progression here, right? I think sexuality has become so commonplace now, right? Like it's absolutely everywhere that I think a part of the essence of sexuality is exploration and novelty, right? I think without that you are missing a component. And so where do people go? Well, they go to realms that they have not gone before, which those are two.
Yeah.
So I
that's
just think
interesting,
it's a bit of a natural progression. Same with all the random kinks that people have, right? Like really weird, crazy kinks. Like you spend long enough looking at pornography.
That doesn't get the job done anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. You need the next stimulus to be a little bit different, a little bit crazy, right? Enter very aggressive pornography. Enter very gross pornography, and enter all kinds of weird sexual stuff that then I don't think actually is an element of a person, right? They'll claim, oh, this is my kink, right? It's like, I don't know that it is. I don't know that it is.
Yeah.
I think you've just gotten there over time.
Right.
So that's all. I think that we're seeing a lot of negative patterns, and we're seeing, like, I don't want to say the climax because who knows how far it could go, but we're seeing an end state or an advanced version of those.
I just think that's an interesting word to choose when talking about sexuality. We haven't reached the climax yet? Is that
No,
what?
no,
Yeah,
no.
we haven't. Okay.
It would be wonderful if we
Interesting
have, and we
point,
could
though.
just go back to the norm.
Yeah.
But
Get all the bad stuff out, and then we can think clearly. Once we've
give me the post nut clarity.
Yeah,
please.
that's-
we need as a society.
we need
post-nut
societal post nut clarity. I agree.
That's actually interesting because like the how far
Keep talking.
the light mainstream stuff has come, like your 50 Shades of
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
stupidity.
Yep.
Like in how far that's become a popular and mainstream movement. And
Yeah.
if you look at like TikTok has
TikTok.
book talk, and that's where like those girls go to get
Oh,
their fixes or whatever. Like,
Really?
that's
I didn't
the-
know that was a thing.
Well, yeah, it's like, hey, this is my slutty book. Let me
Yeah,
recommend,
yeah.
10 of them to you, and you can recommend 10 of them to yours, and
Yeah.
those communities are kind of blowing up, and it is the gateway. It's that soft gateway to get into. Oh, here I am, and I've just landed in the middle of fucking BDSM prime.
Right.
And then people
right.
who identify their entire existence off of whatever
Sexuality.
sexual.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
No.
I know some people like that. It's very sad.
Yeah, I do think that's also been something that has grown drastically in the last, say, 20, 25 years, is people who their primary identification of themselves
Yeah.
is their sexuality.
Yeah.
Instead of it's like, oh, I'm a this, and this is what I give to society, and this is the type of person I am. I happen to be sexual in this way, but it doesn't matter because that's not my people now. Like, that is who they are. That's the thing they want out there the most. And I think that's sad. That's your existence.
Yeah.
Is just
Yeah.
What do you give to society? Well, I like to fuck this way. It's like,
Yeah.
See, I understand for like some of those people who don't want it to be like a religious focus or something, but when you literally look at your life through a scope of sexuality, like where is like the end game payoff for something like that? At least with like religion, you can be like, okay, I get myself right with with God, and then I'm going to be better down the road because I'm, well, not necessarily everyone, but that it is there's a obvious walk that you have.
path. Yeah.
Like if you look at your lens through sexuality, like what do you have to look forward to in the future? Like what is your payoff? What is, well, I don't know, never mind. Not payoff. What is your end goal?
Mhm.
Because it's obviously not like a stable relationship with children and whatever, because that's
not the goal in most non-traditional sexualities. So
Yeah, it's really.
don't-
I think it's really only like gay, bisexual, and straight or trans or something like that that have that as a goal. But there are so many that are just like, I like to fuck in a certain weird way with a lot of different people, right? There are quite a few that are like that, and I guess I don't know what the end goal would be. Maybe that's why we see a lot of depressed people with no future in mind.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think just having it doesn't even matter what it's like. It doesn't matter what your sexuality is. Having that be your primary focus is it in and of itself an empty. There's no, you won't feel satisfied because you're not really doing anything. You're not. There's, it's a short term. Ooh, I feel special. I'm different. But there's no long term. I am a valuable contributor to society. I have an intrinsic value that is important and meaningful. Like eventually, it's like that does get. I don't know. It does result in a meaninglessness because eventually it's like, okay, now you're no longer the craziest sex person. This guy Bob down the street's the crazier sex person. Now who are you? What do you even have anymore? It's like it's kind of I think it's sad when it's not that, again, we're not, I don't think, against people having a good time, but that's not what we're saying. We're just saying when that's your sole purpose and goal in life.
Yeah.
It can.
When it's the defining characteristic
Yeah.
of you,
there is no delayed gratification that at the end of your days makes you feel justified, makes you feel accomplished.
Yeah, like I have
Like
lived
that,
a good life. Yeah.
I fucked so many of X,
See,
Y, and Z. Like
there's
it just
someone in a wolf costume, someone in a fox costume, someone in a sheep costume.
I fucked Noah's entire ark. I am very proud of myself.
Oh,
Please put that on my tombstone.
When the horse showed up to the door, class.
What'd I say?
I said, hey.
That's right. I got the saddle out. I got my spurs and my chaps on. I said, giddy up. That's what I said. Oh, man.
He's gonna see this. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck happened?"
Yeah, what has happened? No, it's great. I like it. This is stream of thought is wonderful. Yeah, I don't. Boy, we got back into it. It is interesting that we got into a. Somehow we got back into a serious topic.
It's gonna happen. It's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I
No
agree. I
problem
do.
at all, but
I don't. Yeah, I'm not upset about it. I just think it's interesting that we always kind of buck cherry to like existential, contemplation. Yeah. But yeah, talking about social media. Here's another thing. LinkedIn. The social mediaification of like the workplace and job search, I hate. Like you kind of like, I still sort of need to use it because there are some decent resources, but it's like, it's garbage. I wish I could tell you how garbage LinkedIn is. It is just like the people who post there now, it feels like social media. It's the equivalent of bikini pics for work. It's like,
yeah,
people post and they're like, today is the day that you will find the truth that makes you who you are. And that, like, those are the pages that are getting like loads of views and follows, and they're the gurus, right? They're the ones who people are like, it's almost like everybody is too busy self-aggrandizing to even say anything of worth. Like, because if you actually say something of value that might be like cutting, people don't want to. They're not going to want to actually listen to it, right? They love the people who have the just the little Dove chocolate.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Be the sunshine in your own universe. Like that bullshit. It's like,
Darkness banished by the dawn.
that is you.
Quotes.
on
Yeah.
the teacher's walls.
Yes, exactly. It's like, and that's like 90% of LinkedIn now. It's just, or it's people giving like goofy ass advice, like things that you should do. You know, brush your teeth, and it's, I can't remember. I wish I could give you exact, but it's. I just remember I quit reading because I was like, there's no point in me reading these. They're not actually helping me learn anything. They're not helping me like figure out what I could do to be a better applicant. Because that's the other thing. Everybody has advice on how you're supposed to make your resume and your application, and they're all different, and they all swear that theirs is the new way, that you have to do it, or else you won't get seen and you won't get recognized. And they're all different, and they all disagree with each other. It's impossible to like make a resume today. Like, it's genuinely impossible just to make a resume that you can send to somebody, because it's like, oh, we need you to write it like this, and you know, it's just like, I don't know. I get really frustrated because I am in the process of job searching, and it's like, what's the point? It's,
Yeah.
Or
I never understood the point of LinkedIn to begin with, because I only ever used it in the initial link for an employer. They said, hey, where's your LinkedIn account? And I literally made one, put a resume on it, and said, here it is.
yeah,
Like, I don't think it's ever been. I've networked with one person when I was at an old job for a job that didn't need networking.
yeah.
Like, I can't say I've ever even heard of it coming up in a professional workplace. It doesn't come up in the medical industry where I'm in currently. Like, I've never heard of.
Anybody be like, oh,
Anyone use it?
yeah. I mean, I know people are on it. I see, you know, posts. I see job offers go up on it all the time, but it's like, I don't know how useful it is. I feel like it's a lot of people who are just, most of it is people trying to sell their services as being a guru of
Yeah.
something. That's really what it's come down to now. The people who are most active on it are gurus, and I don't even know what to put on my, like, what to put on my profile so that if somebody did come across it, it would match what they're. It's like,
Well, there's a bunch of different like algorithms that companies will use to filter the
Mhm.
things, so you can't possibly match all of them.
yeah,
Right? And very often the gurus are the people that have made those algorithms and are trying to show you, this is how you work with it, this
Yeah.
is how you operate. But of course, there's 80 different algorithms, so
Exactly.
there's 80 different gurus, and it's like the advice one gives you that doesn't work for the other. It's all fucked, man. It's all fucked.
someone was. It was an actual. I can't remember who it was, but it was an official source. It was like someone who I trusted, and it was like a real person was giving an example of a company that they knew that posted a job listing intentionally made for someone that they had went out and what do you call it, where you go try to find, you recruited. They recruited this guy. They talked to him. He was working for another company. He was a big shot. They wanted him to come work for them. They convinced him to do it. He said, yeah, I'll come work for you. But they needed him to fill out the like job application to get into their system. And he went, found the job application that they posted up, put his information in, and he immediately got an email from their system saying that they had decided to go with a different candidate because he did not match their qualifications. Literally, no one else could even, like, it was made to match his resume. They had his resume, and the AI still rejected him. It's like, what's even the point? And he decided to go with a different company because he's like, you're trash. If you can't even get your system to, I'm not working for you. But, I did, you know, that frustrates you as a person trying to find work, because you're like, what if there is a really good company out there, but whoever set up their AI system just did such a piss poor job that I could be a perfect fit and it still won't recognize it because I didn't choose the 3 keywords that they're looking for. It's frustrating, but no, I agree. I just think like social media has ruined even like the job searching process, and
It's ruined a lot. It's ruined that. It's ruined dating. It's ruined
Yep.
the like personal view of oneself of all young men and women who
Mhm.
engage with it. It's ruined a lot, man. A lot.
And
a
you
lot,
used
a
to
lot.
only have exposure to that through, like, whatever magazines were available.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's where the trash media was. But now it's handheld.
Well, it also
Wow,
helped, I
anyway.
think, when it's a magazine, because you go, but those are the models. Those are the elites. So you could be like, it'd be wonderful if I could get there, but that's unrealistic. Now with social media, it makes you feel like your neighbor is going on $200,000 trips across the globe, and this is me in front of the Sistine Chapel with a perfect, you know. Have you ever seen those videos where they go, they take all these like clips that like travel agencies make of their like hot spots and how beautiful and picturesque they are, and then they show what it actually looks like when people are there, and it's like not even remotely like it's like, you know,
it doesn't
overcrowded and cloudy, and it's you know, it's dirty and whatever. It's like
usually I only see those after Burning Man.
Yeah.
I went on a cruise down in the Bahamas, like a 3-day cruise, and stopped at like 3 or 4 different islands. And one of the islands, owned by I think it was Royal Caribbean, right? So the island, when they bought it, was called Coco Cay, right? That was the name of it, Coco Cay. Cool, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the name of the island to, instead of being Coco Cay, it is now Perfect Day at Coco Cay. That's the name of the island. Perfect Day at Coco Cay. You get off the boat, you look in front, and what you see are signs all over the place. Welcome to your perfect day at Coco Cay.
Oh,
right? And you walk around, and it's like, it's a nice island, right? You don't need all this fanfare. It's fucking crowded. There's people everywhere. Ain't nothing perfect about this.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought it was so dumb that they changed the name to literally be Perfect Day at Coco Cay.
Because it hits that people's desire to have that.
Yes.
I'm gonna have the
it's
perfect
all a facade.
day.
It's a veneer. It's a mask.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, a lot of the videos that you see where they're like in the middle of this, it was like a series of pools. It was like naturally, you know, little like divot pools that people could, and the video was of her, like this one woman, just as the sun setting, you can see it reflecting off of all the pools around her, and she's just floating there in her perfect bikini and blah. And then they showed the picture of what's actually like, and just all the pools are filled with like 15 people, just, you know, elbow to elbow, you know, and it's you don't absolutely get the experience whatsoever of what they were presenting it as. And that's basically social media as a whole. And then people, especially younger people who can't process, oh, life is a bunch of bullshit. You know, they're like, they expect that that's what I'm going to, you know, that's the life I need to have. And
I'll be honest, it's even hard for me. I'm 28 years old, and if I'll see like over and over the pictures of the beautiful, it's like
that's what you expect.
The brain recognizes patterns.
Yeah.
Right? It's what it is built to do. I can only... It does feel like I'm trying to trick it to take it out of that sphere that I'm being forced into, even though I know it's avoiding the trick to do so. You know, it's just crazy, man.
Oh, okay. I got something super fascinating to talk about. I watched a video of this maybe yesterday. Anyway, there are optical illusions, and it looks like there's basically a painting, and it looks like you're looking at a building and then 2 avenues going past it. But in reality, if you turn it, it's like it's not the right angle. It's not that. There's another one where they show a face, and it looks like the face is looking at you, or it's like poking out. It looks like a normal face, but in reality, it's sunk in. It's actually an inverse face, but every normal person views it as a normal face coming out at like a, you know, like we would normally a face. People who have schizophrenia are not fooled by these optical illusions, and they only get fooled once they start to heal once they start getting treatment and they get healed, then they start to get fooled by the optical illusions. So that's just interesting. I don't know exactly what it means for our brains, but
it's a brain structure thing.
Yes,
for sure. Right. It's some part of our brain that for schizophrenic people doesn't work right, that is attached to facial recognition.
Yeah, but somehow they can recognize like depth optical illusions really well, and they actually use it. Like the actual professionals use this to gauge whether or not someone is healing from their schizophrenia. Like as long as they can still, the optical illusions don't work, they know that they have more work to do. But when they start working, they realize that their brain is healing, and so it's really weird. I don't know what it is about us that we can be fooled, but you know. expectations. I have no idea what it all comes down to, but it's really fascinating how our brains work, and
Yep.
we can be intentionally fooled sometimes by ourselves.
I think it's ultimately it's pattern recognition. That is
Mhm.
what the brain is
probably right.
built for, right? Absolutely, that is what it's built for. And so, I mean, social media. What are the patterns that we see on social media?
Yeah.
It's pretty much all fantastical, incredible,
Yeah.
awe-inspiring moments. And then, it's a shame because like when I go for a walk at sunset, right, it's like this is a beautiful, right? This is fantastic. I'm walking around ponds in my neighborhood. There's trees everywhere. Ducks are down at the pond just living their life, right? Absolutely gorgeous nature, right? And yet compare it to the patterns, right? And it loses its luster, right?
Yeah.
It loses that magical element that it really does possess, but my brain can't access it unless I make a conscious effort to fight against what social media is plugged in.
That's interesting. Because I used to love, like when I was younger in my teens, fireworks and stuff. Like I used to really find them super fascinating. We have this big fireworks thing here in Johnson City. It's very famous. People come from all around to watch because they put a bunch of money into. It's really cool. But the older I got, and the more I dealt with social media, I was like, it's bright lights. I can see that on my computer. Like I have that mentality now with a lot of stuff. I'm like, it's trees, whatever. Like I have these rolling, gorgeous mountains around me, the Appalachian Mountains, trees, and it's it's very pretty. It's very senior, but I'm like, well, I've seen it before. It's kind of why I don't even care if I travel because I've seen it. Oh wow, that's a different tree and that's different dirt. And I do wonder if it's just because my brain's been so overwhelmed by excessive beauty, excessive color, excessive everything, that normal, natural, beautiful, exciting, incredible moments lose their luster.
I mean, just think of how magical your life would be if you actually took this stuff in all the time.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's actually a pretty common therapy, actually. Just getting out to wilderness, just reducing all of these influences back to nothing and just getting out to what we, in essence, what we were surviving through,
naturally,
what our natural instincts are, to go play in the wilderness, to go explore and to get in touch with
it's like
basically
retuning a guitar.
the real surroundings. And the more we dive into screens, the less of that we actually get as a people.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how therapeutic something like that is.
Yeah, it's probably true.
When you take something that is hard to get and you make a proxy of it easy to get, I think that we're seeing all of the negative effects of that, right? Like that's what's really gone on. You've taken a million different things that are hard to get and you've given us a lesser version of it for free or cheap. And I think it's Hume said the human being is one that takes the path of least resistance, right? And so if I can take the path of least resistance to get the proxy, then that's typically what I think people do, even though it is of course not in their best interest. Which was why I made the conscious decision to get off of social media. I didn't want the proxies and stuff like that. I think it was the right call. I think it was the right call.
I probably would have been better served doing. I feel like now that I am heavily involved in online content creation, online, like it's part of almost what I do now. I don't know that I can accurately, like if the jobs I'm looking for are online social media, like I couldn't separate. I would have no. That's what my expertise is in now. You know what I'm saying? But I do think I need to make a conscious decision to maybe limit it to some degree, like slow it down, and at least to the degree I can separate myself, get some more time. Like this morning, I went outside at 6 something in the morning, and I sat there and I, just looked at the fog rising off the mountains as I smoked a cigar and read a book, and it was nice. It's very therapeutic. Highly advise doing it. Just doing that.
Being cognizant of the fact that it's a proxy, that it's not the real thing. Just being aware that your brain is being played tricks upon, I think would do magic.
Mhm.
And I suppose maybe caring about it. I don't know. I have students who know that, because I ask them, like, do you guys have social media? Do you think it's good for you, or do you think it's bad for you?
Right.
All around the room, they all know it's bad. Every single one of them says it's bad.
Yeah.
Not one person says it's good. So why are you still on it? Oh, good question. The next day they're
Little
still on
dopamine.
it, right?
Let's
Yeah.
get our 10 seconds of dopamine
That's
and
exactly what it is.
you know,
Yes.
our justification and get
I
out.
wanted to have the conclusion that just being aware of it, helps, but I suppose perhaps caring enough to make the change is
Yeah.
the real conclusion.
And there are ways for you to separate even within that field. And then, like you were saying, you can
Keep talking. I got my
dive
headset.
into these things and just break them apart on, like you were saying, the pattern recognition. You can easily identify, usually within a few seconds, whether something is going to be substantive or if it's just going for those hits, those clicks, those big splashy all caps yelling at you. You know, come see how dumb this is. Come see how stupid these people are. Come see how many times I need to go to the hospital today. Like,
Yep.
it's just, it
How
may
come
be
the moon
entertaining on
don't
some
melt?
level, but yeah, how come the moon don't melt?
Why the moon don't melt? Forget about Mercury and all that are closer. How come the moon don't melt?
It's funny because I definitely remember my social media presence, just like I kept feeling more and more not anxious but just turbulent about the whole ordeal until I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. Here's my goodbye, and I have not looked back since. Like,
Smart.
sure,
Yeah.
I'll get on and do, you know, watch a couple of clips on TikTok or something, but that is strictly entertainment. I do not look at it for any kind of other purposes.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? Like, I'll get sent a Facebook reel or a TikTok clip from a friend, and I will like click on it on Discord or whatever, or on my phone and in text, and sometimes it'll say you need the app or whatever
Oh, yeah.
to play this. And I'm like, well, guess I'll never know.
Yep.
Sorry, buddy.
Yep. I've done that a couple times. It does that for me with
There-
TikTok.
There are very few things that you can actually get educational with in a 10 to 15 to 30-second clip.
I agree.
I know that they've bumped them to, like, sometimes they'll have like a few minutes now, and
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of.
I do
who
YouTube
played
Shorts, okay, so me and Ply have talked about this for this channel, and he was very like Henry Ford, pump it out, it's got to be 30 seconds or less, that's what gets the clicks, you got to do it 30 seconds, and I was like, but the way our content is structured, some of our ideas need a minute or a minute and 20 seconds to get a full cognizant point that makes sense across. I'll cut it as much as I can, but I'm not going to ruin an intelligent point just to try to hit like. And I also think the people who are there for only 30-second clips aren't going to be wanting to watch a podcast anyway, because the podcast is a long form. They're looking for he got hit in the nuts. Wee, giggle, giggle, giggle. Right? Like they're
I
not.
think that's what you would need if you were going to go the 30-second, right? You need something like Evil says something crazy, and then I go,
What?
and then and then someone calls him out for his stupidity, and then he's like, I'm stupid, and then that's the clip.
Yeah.
Right? That's good. Yeah.
No,
Sorry, Evil.
well, the other thing is I don't like the reason I was kind of reticent to just always go for that is I also don't think that's the audience we're aiming for, or at least I'll say this: it's not the audience that I am aiming for. I want us to have a more intelligent, like they don't have to be brilliant, but I mean, you know, I don't want
Seeking something.
Yes, seeking-
knowledge.
yes.
Engaged content.
something more than just one 15-second adrenaline hit after another of just
Yeah.
disjointed blah, blah, blah. I mean, I feel like that's so much of like TikTok and what we're getting now in Reels and YouTube Shorts now are just, it's like dumbify. I really think it's like a genuine bad thing for society that we are
Yeah.
highlighting and giving into that just for click. Like we're being like we're feeding the monster. We're making people stupid just because that's. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to. You know, both for my soul and just for also just kind of who I think would actually watch the podcast and continue to watch the podcast. If I want them to watch the short and then go, I will watch that podcast. I think I need to make the content for people who are like that, not for people who want short just bursts of like nonsensical adrenaline. And so that's kind of the reason I've kind of taken the approach with our shorts. Most of them don't get too much longer than 2 minutes. I do try to keep them fairly short because I think if you get too long, people will, even if they're into that stuff, they're kind of, you know, if they're looking at shorts, they're looking for a brief moment that tells them, oh, I'm interested now, I'll go look for the longer stuff. But
so you actually made me think of like two different expanding points, and I say expanding off of the first one is like when you look at Western entertainment, and I am putting this in an entertainment lens because that's how I view it. But whenever you look at these like short clips, these reels, these TikToks and stuff, I have heard the differences between Western and Eastern media on the same platform is like night and day. Like we do all these stupid things to catch attention, and these are people in like Western society. The difference is that Eastern actually puts like semi-professional, or they actually put effort and thoughtfulness, and they don't have that attention grab. It's like look and see how well I can do something, and it's even to a point like you could potentially send that to an employer and try to get work, and but we can't do that over here. Like, hey, look and see what I'm eating this week. And
well, I was gonna say, like, I think the biggest difference is that I've seen this with, especially with China, they like emphasize like science and like practical, like actual usable things, and they'll push that at the top of their version of TikTok, whereas we get like bimbos dancing, and that's kind of
underage bimbos dancing.
Underage bimbo dancing, yes.
Well, that was actually the expansion of what I was talking about, because not only do you see such a stark contrast between the two, but then you go to something like China's social credit system, where it's like they actually actively try to weed that kind of stuff out from. So it is a farther extreme.
Well, because I know South Korea does theirs just like we do ours. They're big into dance challenges, and they have the same problem the Western society has, where it's like short, dumb,
and I would assume that you're going to find a lot of that in Japan and Australia and New Zealand as well. It's
places heavily influenced by our entertainment. Yeah,
it's not going to be as prevalent, but yeah, it's absolutely still there. But yeah, no, the more, I wouldn't say more professional, but I would say that those ends are probably more desirable. Maybe not like the social credit of China, but
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's as a society, it's more desirable to be where we focus on valuable actual skills, not
if
just.
You could restrict TikTok and OnlyFans to content that you could present to a whole family, like would you still feel the same way about our what you're projecting, that we are becoming dumber as
a good question
as a nation, or do you think that's irrelevant?
I think I would. I think the form of the content is partially also an issue. I think the content itself, which is what you're highlighting, is a huge problem. I would say probably in the short term, it is more disastrous to have the type of content. But I think in the long term, it's more damaging to have it in the short time units.
Well,
and that's actually interesting, because you were actually saying on the last episode that if you can get away with doing the extraneous and not extraneous, the extravagant, flashy thing, that you absolutely should, because that's going to benefit you, right?
As long as you have no morals to
Right,
know
right,
that
yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing is long-term damaging to
Well,
oneself.
and this is my counters. I don't think people are aware enough, or they don't have a godlike foresight to know what is actually in their best interest. So people will do things that they think are in their best interest, but are not, right? And so I think that's the struggle there is, and people are just sometimes they're not honest with themselves too. You have to they won't be honest what is good for them versus
But in both situations, they're wrong.
Yeah.
In
I agree. You're saying on a deeply philosophical, doing what is, if you were capable of seeing 2,500 steps down the road and how everything played out, butterfly effect on you, then you should do what's best for you, because you would know, by me making the sacrifice now, in 10 years, this will be better for me. So I would make this choice.
I think that if you are aware that you are a bad judge of things, you shouldn't listen to your own judgment.
Okay, that's fair too. Yeah.
But if you believe in your own judgment, I think that you should do what you think is in your best interest generally.
Okay.
And odds
I
are
just
you're
have a hard
going
time.
to be wrong about it quite often.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You're going to be wrong about it.
Yeah.
And therefore you do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
How it is,
right?
yeah.
I think that's
I agree.
the correct outcome. That's the correct assessment of the situation. You're doing the wrong thing because you're not smart enough to know what the right thing is. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. I did want to go back to, before we get too far away from, I think when you were talking about format, because this actually was a big part of what I was, it's called like tech. Oh my gosh.
Dick Talk. It's Dick Talk. Evil has introduced us to.
Anyway, it's talking about how the formula of what you're watching on does impact how you engage with it. Like, so streaming is very heavily geared towards emotional impact and connection. Like the services themselves, right? You have blurps, you have subs that have alerts. It's, hey everybody, look, and it puts it in the chat, big bold letters. This person has subscribed. They paid money. Everybody loved them. And then the people who are doing the stream go, everybody put a W in chat for Big Johnson Two Toes. He's subbed 5 subs. Woo! And everybody puts W's, and he gets to feel right. And then if he wants to feel like he's even more engaged and he's part of the show, he hits a button that lets the little noise go off, and a little blurpy goes across the screen and goes back right in front of the guy's face, and they go, hey, I'm part of the show, and they get that, it gives them that adrenaline rush. And that's how streamers make money, is they literally, the service is geared, it's literally designed with the intent of tricking people into thinking that they're getting an emotional feedback and support by spending money, which gives money to the service as well as the streamer, and by being like, it gives that influence. So I think that's also a part of it, is these platforms are designed in a way to hit those nerves in our brain, hit those elements that make us react a certain way. Like the like button, right? A like on it feels good when you get those likes on you make a comment under a famous person, you get 100 likes, and you're like, ooh, people like what I said. It gives you that, right? It makes you want to keep going back and get more and more and more.
I still check on YouTube comments that I've made a month ago that that one went really well.
Yeah.
How are we doing today? Up 4. All right.
No, I get it. I mean, and so it's like, I do think that also has a lot to play with how we engage. And it's actually one reason why, me and Ply always like to have these discussions about how we do it, but it's like, the podcast is a completely different format and a completely different media form than his live stream. So the things that will work as far as advertising, marketing, and what works to bring people in that cause his stream to work well and be successful would not necessarily work on doing it for this podcast, because it's a completely different, like, people can't directly interact, right? There's nobody can't hit a blurb and they get the feeling that they're part of the show right now. Nobody can. There's not a live chat where I read and go, Johnny, you are special, and I am reading what you wrote on air. Don't you feel good about yourself, Johnny? Right? Like that doesn't. So it's like you have to engage the marketing slightly differently too, because you're not pulling the same type of people, and it's not the same, adrenaline pulls that just hit. So it's like, it's just interesting how that's the format is. These people who created these things, they know what they're doing. They're psychologically in, and they know what they're the nerves they're hitting and how they're doing it.
Yeah.
What time is it? Hold on. It is we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. We say good week, good job this week, and we can talk more after I close us out. So
next up, the great kerfuffle. We should talk about the grand kerfuffle, the breaking of the Trinity.
Oh,
yay,
yes.
Nay?
The great kerfuffle. Oh, yes. The great kerfuffle. The too big for his britches. Yes.
Amen. Amen, amen, I say to you.
We absolutely have to talk about that. We have to talk about being too big for... Come back in the future when you see all three of us on the screen again for the great kerfuffle. How we all have, in this triangle, at some point in time, sworn off the other people in this triangle. And we have survived it through fellowship and brotherhood.
I am glad you chose that.
Come back again. We'll have more great content. Thank you. Bye-bye.